In a small town in Japan, there are doctors in their 90s who still walk to work, still see patients, and still wake up with a clear mind, and when people ask them their secret, they don't talk about expensive treatments or complicated routines, they simply smile and say, "I just eat the same simple foods every day." Today, we are going to explore a quiet wisdom that has been practiced not through trends or quick solutions, but through steady daily habits followed by some of the oldest doctors in Japan, individuals who have spent their entire lives caring for others while quietly caring for themselves in ways that are simple, consistent, and deeply rooted in respect for the body. These are not people chasing longevity as a goal, but people who built lives that naturally supported long, healthy years, often without realizing that what they were doing would later become something the world would study and admire. This topic is especially important for older adults and for families who support them, because aging is not only about adding years to life, but about maintaining clarity of mind, strength in the body, and the ability to live each day with dignity and independence. Many people worry about losing energy, becoming dependent on others, or facing illnesses that slowly take away the joy of everyday living, and yet, what these doctors show us is that some of the most powerful protections are found in small, repeated choices that feel manageable and familiar. As you listen, you may find yourself thinking about your own routines, or perhaps remembering meals that were once common in your home but slowly disappeared over time. You might even recognize habits that you already practice without giving them much thought. Feel free to share your experiences in the comments, and let us know what city you are watching from, because these conversations often bring people together in ways that feel warm and supportive, even across great distances. If you are caring for a parent, a grandparent, or even thinking about your own future, this discussion is meant to bring not pressure, but reassurance. It is a reminder that health does not always come from complicated plans, but often from returning to what is simple, steady, and kind to the body, practiced day after day with quiet attention. 1. One of the most consistent habits among these long-living doctors is starting the day with simple, balanced meals that include fermented foods such as miso soup, and while it may seem like a very ordinary choice, its impact on the body is both gentle and powerful over time. Miso is rich in beneficial bacteria that support the gut, which plays a central role not only in digestion but also in immunity and even mental clarity. As people grow older, the digestive system often becomes more sensitive and less efficient, and heavy or highly processed foods can create discomfort, inflammation, or poor nutrient absorption, but fermented foods help restore balance in a natural way. These doctors often describe breakfast not as a large or heavy meal, but as a calm beginning for the body, something warm, easy to digest, and nourishing without being overwhelming. A bowl of miso soup with soft tofu, a bit of seaweed, and perhaps some vegetables provides hydration, protein, and minerals all at once, allowing the body to wake up gradually rather than being forced into sudden effort. This is especially important for older adults who may experience reduced appetite in the morning but still need steady nutrition to maintain energy throughout the day. Over the years, researchers have found that a healthy gut environment is closely linked to reduced inflammation, better immune response, and even lower risk of chronic diseases, which are often the conditions that shorten quality of life in later years. What makes this habit so powerful is not just the food itself, but the consistency of eating it every day, creating a stable internal environment that the body can rely on. It is a quiet, almost invisible form of care, but one that builds strength slowly and steadily, without placing strain on the system. 2. They eat small portions of fish regularly, especially oily fish like mackerel, sardines, or salmon, and what stands out is not just the type of food, but the way it is consumed with care and moderation. These doctors do not rely on large servings or rich preparations, instead they choose simple cooking methods such as grilling or light simmering, which preserve the natural nutrients without adding unnecessary fats or heavy sauces that can burden the body over time. Fish, particularly oily fish, contains omega-3 fatty acids, which are known to support brain health, reduce inflammation, and protect the heart, all of which become increasingly important as the body ages. Many older adults experience gradual memory decline, stiffness in the joints, or cardiovascular issues, and while no single food can completely prevent these changes, regular intake of omega-3s has been shown to slow down some of these processes and support overall function in a steady, reliable way. What is important here is consistency, not intensity, because the body responds better to small, repeated nourishment than to occasional excess. There is also a cultural aspect to how fish is eaten, often served in portions that satisfy but do not overwhelm, paired with vegetables and rice in a balanced way. This combination helps the body process nutrients more effectively and prevents the heaviness that can come from protein-heavy meals eaten in isolation. For elderly individuals, this balance can make a noticeable difference in how they feel after eating, whether they remain comfortable and energized or feel tired and sluggish. Over time, this habit becomes a form of quiet protection, supporting the brain, the heart, and the joints without requiring complicated planning or expensive ingredients. It is not about following a strict diet, but about maintaining a rhythm of nourishment that the body can depend on, day after day, in a way that feels sustainable and gentle. 3. Vegetables are not treated as a side dish in these daily meals, but as the true foundation that everything else is built upon, and this simple shift in perspective makes a meaningful difference over the course of many years. Instead of focusing on large portions of meat or heavy main dishes, these doctors naturally center their meals around a variety of vegetables, often prepared in ways that preserve their natural flavor and nutrients, such as light steaming, gentle simmering, or quick sautéing with minimal seasoning. What makes this habit especially powerful is the emphasis on variety rather than volume. It is not about eating a large amount of one vegetable, but about including many different kinds in small portions, each bringing its own set of vitamins, minerals, and protective compounds. Leafy greens, root vegetables, sea vegetables, and seasonal produce all play a role, creating a colorful and balanced plate that quietly supports the body's needs. This diversity helps ensure that no single nutrient is lacking, which becomes increasingly important as the body's ability to absorb and utilize nutrients changes with age. From a scientific point of view, vegetables are rich in antioxidants and fiber, both of which are essential for reducing inflammation and supporting digestion. Fiber helps maintain regular bowel movements and supports the beneficial bacteria in the gut, while antioxidants help protect cells from damage that can accumulate over time and contribute to chronic illness. For older adults, these benefits are not just theoretical, they can translate into better energy levels, improved comfort after meals, and a lower risk of many common age-related conditions. There is also a gentle rhythm to how vegetables are included in daily life. Meals are often designed to feel light yet satisfying, allowing the body to feel nourished without being weighed down. This is particularly important for those who may struggle with reduced appetite or slower digestion, as heavy meals can lead to discomfort or fatigue. By making vegetables the center of the plate, these doctors create a pattern of eating that supports both immediate well-being and long-term health. Over time, this approach becomes less of a conscious effort and more of a natural way of living, where the body is consistently given what it needs in a form that is easy to accept and process. It is a quiet but steady form of care, one that does not demand attention but delivers lasting benefits through its simplicity and consistency. 4. Rice, which is often misunderstood or even avoided in some modern diets, is actually an important and steady part of daily meals for many of these long-living doctors, but the key lies in how it is eaten, not just in the rice itself. Rather than being consumed in large portions or as a dominant part of the plate, rice is served in modest amounts and carefully balanced with vegetables, fish, and other simple dishes, creating a meal that feels complete without being excessive. In this form, rice becomes a gentle and reliable source of energy. It provides carbohydrates that the body can use steadily throughout the day, supporting both physical activity and brain function without causing sudden spikes or crashes in blood sugar when eaten in proper portions. For older adults, this is especially important, because fluctuations in blood sugar can lead to fatigue, dizziness, or long-term metabolic issues if not managed carefully. By pairing rice with fiber-rich vegetables and protein from fish or tofu, the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream becomes slower and more controlled, allowing for a more stable and comfortable feeling after meals. There is also a sense of familiarity and comfort associated with rice, particularly for those who have eaten it throughout their lives. As people age, maintaining a connection to familiar foods can support not only physical health but also emotional well-being. Meals that feel recognizable and satisfying are more likely to be enjoyed and continued, rather than replaced by restrictive or unfamiliar diets that may be difficult to maintain over time. These doctors often emphasize that no single food should be seen as the problem or the solution on its own. Instead, it is the overall pattern that matters. Rice, when eaten slowly, in the right amount, and alongside a variety of other nourishing foods, becomes part of a balanced system that supports the body rather than stressing it. This perspective removes fear from eating and replaces it with awareness, allowing individuals to make choices that are both practical and sustainable. Over many years, this steady approach helps the body maintain its energy without extremes, avoiding the cycle of overeating and restriction that can quietly wear down health. It is a reminder that even simple foods, when respected and used thoughtfully, can play a meaningful role in supporting long life and daily comfort. 5. They also emphasize eating slowly and stopping before feeling completely full, a habit that may sound simple on the surface but carries deep benefits for the body, especially as it ages. In Japan, there is a long-practiced idea often described as eating until one is about 80% full, which means leaving a small margin before fullness becomes discomfort. These doctors follow this approach not as a strict rule, but as a natural awareness of their body's signals, something that becomes easier with time and mindful attention. When people eat quickly, the body does not have enough time to register fullness, and this often leads to overeating without realizing it. For older adults, this can create unnecessary strain on digestion, causing bloating, fatigue, and a general sense of heaviness that may last for hours. By slowing down, chewing thoroughly, and allowing pauses between bites, the body is given time to communicate clearly, making it easier to stop at the right moment without feeling deprived. There is also a physiological benefit to this habit. Digestion begins in the mouth, and proper chewing helps break down food more effectively, reducing the workload on the stomach and intestines. Over time, this can support better nutrient absorption and reduce common digestive issues that tend to appear with age. Eating slowly also helps regulate blood sugar levels, as food enters the system in a more gradual way, preventing sudden spikes that can affect energy and overall health. Beyond the physical effects, there is a quiet emotional benefit as well. Meals become less rushed and more intentional, creating a moment of calm in the day. This can lower stress levels, which are often overlooked but play a significant role in long-term health. For many of these doctors, eating is not just about nutrition, but about maintaining a balanced relationship with the body, one that avoids excess without creating feelings of restriction. Over the years, this gentle discipline protects the body from the wear and tear that comes from habitual overeating. It allows the digestive system to function with less strain, supports steady energy levels, and helps maintain a comfortable body weight without extreme effort. In the long run, it is not the occasional large meal that causes harm, but the repeated pattern of eating beyond what the body truly needs, and this simple habit quietly prevents that pattern from taking hold. There is a story often shared about an elderly Japanese doctor who, even at the age of 96, continued to live alone and care for himself with quiet confidence, not because life was easy, but because his daily habits supported him in a steady and reliable way. Each morning, he would rise early, open the window to let in fresh air, and prepare a simple breakfast without rushing, treating the process as part of his well-being rather than a task to finish quickly. His meal rarely changed: a small bowl of rice, a warm cup of miso soup with tofu and seaweed, and a modest portion of grilled fish, and yet this repetition was not boring to him. It was comforting, something his body understood and responded to with ease. When younger doctors once asked him why he never grew tired of eating the same kinds of meals, he explained that the body prefers stability more than variety in extremes, and that constantly changing habits can create subtle stress that people do not always notice right away. He believed that when the body knows what to expect, it can function more efficiently, digest more comfortably, and maintain balance without unnecessary effort. This idea, while simple, reflects a deeper understanding of how long-term health is built not from dramatic changes, but from consistency. In communities across Japan where people tend to live longer, researchers have noticed similar patterns. Meals are rarely rushed, and people often sit down without distractions, paying attention to what they are eating and how it makes them feel. Even in modest homes, there is a sense of care in how food is prepared and served, which naturally encourages slower eating and better digestion. This environment supports not only physical health but also emotional stability, which becomes increasingly important with age. From a scientific perspective, these habits align with what is known about reducing chronic inflammation, which is one of the major contributors to aging and disease. Fermented foods help maintain a healthy gut microbiome. Fish provides essential fats that support the brain and heart, and vegetables offer antioxidants that protect cells over time. But what is often overlooked is how these elements work together, not as isolated nutrients, but as part of a daily rhythm that the body can depend on. Another detail that stands out is that these doctors do not rely on strict diets or complicated rules. They do not count every calorie or avoid entire food groups out of fear. Instead, they focus on balance, moderation, and awareness, allowing them to enjoy their meals without guilt while still protecting their health. This approach makes their habits sustainable, something they can continue for decades without feeling restricted or overwhelmed. Over time, these small, repeated choices form a kind of quiet strength. There are no sudden transformations or dramatic results, but rather a gradual building of resilience that allows them to remain active, clear-minded, and independent well into old age. It is not a method that promises quick change, but it offers something more valuable, a way of living that supports the body gently, day after day, without adding pressure or complexity. What often surprises people the most is that these doctors never built their lives around the idea of living to 100, and they never chased longevity as a goal to be achieved. Instead, they focused on something much quieter and more immediate, which was to avoid placing unnecessary burden on the body each day, and over time, this simple intention shaped the course of their health in ways that only became visible many years later. They understood that the body does not break down all at once, but gradually, through small daily habits that either support it or slowly wear it down. One of the most important and often overlooked truths they share is that the greatest risk does not come from occasional indulgence, but from the patterns that repeat without awareness, such as eating too much, relying heavily on processed foods, or rushing through meals without giving the body time to respond. These behaviors may feel harmless in the moment, but over years, they quietly contribute to inflammation, metabolic strain, and a decline in overall function that can be difficult to reverse. There is a story of one doctor who, when asked what he feared most in aging, did not mention disease or weakness, but rather the loss of daily balance. He explained that when people stop listening to their bodies, even in small ways, they begin to drift toward habits that feel convenient but slowly create harm. He believed that the body keeps a kind of memory of how it is treated, and if it is consistently cared for with moderation and attention, it often responds with resilience even in advanced age. The most powerful realization is that there is no single turning point where health is won or lost. It is built quietly, in ordinary moments, through choices that may seem too small to matter at the time, but when repeated every day, become the difference between decline and vitality. When we look at their lives, the message is not complicated or out of reach. It is about returning to simple, balanced meals, eating with awareness, and respecting the body's natural limits. These are not strict rules, but gentle guidelines that can be adapted to any lifestyle, anywhere in the world. There is something reassuring in knowing that longevity does not always depend on expensive solutions, but often on small, daily choices that anyone can begin, regardless of age. And even if someone starts later in life, these changes can still bring comfort, energy, and a sense of control over their health. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to share your thoughts, and let us know what habits you or your family follow to stay healthy. Your experience might help someone else more than you realize. And if you found this helpful, consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone who might need a gentle reminder that caring for the body can be simple, consistent, and deeply human.